And now, Michigan Reimagined with Chris Buck.
So almost 1 year ago, I hosted a show announcing a new mechanism for early funding for Michigan technology startups called Michigan Rise. Today, we'll hear how that still new pre-seed funding offered through the Michigan State University Foundation is going. So here to give us the scoop is Michigan Rise Executive Director Jeff Wesley. Welcome back to the show, Jeff.
Again today and share an update about Michigan Rise.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more. So just as a reminder to our listeners, why was Michigan Rise introduced and kind of who are the stakeholders helping the fund operate?
Yeah, Michigan Rise was introduced, as you mentioned, last year in 2020 with the support of the MSU Foundation and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to really provide early stage investment capital to high-tech startups. This funding is just so critical for these high-growth, high-tech companies to get to these near-term kind of milestones they have to achieve so that they can raise additional funding downstream. Funding early companies is hard, and we're here to help make that easier.
So they call it Preseed Money. So, two things, I guess. What stage are these companies in, and how would you define Preseed Money?
Yeah, there's various rounds of funding or financing when it comes to startups. Pre-seed, also known as early stage funding, really occurs before Series A, B, or C. If you put it mildly, we're here to provide that early capital to get them going, which is really the hardest part. And we're blessed at the foundation to have 3 funds to be able to do that.
And so where exactly does the money come from? I mean, you're going to be vetting, tech startups, determining whether you think they're going to have a viable business plan that's going to make it in the long term. So it's truly an investment that you really hope are going to pay off on behalf of the state of Michigan. But where does the money actually come from?
Yeah, so it comes from the MSU Foundation as well as the MEDC. They partner together and pool those assets to create Michigan Rise, and that's where the money comes from.
Okay. And Michigan Rise specifically is centered around tech startups. Why has tech startup been, the or at least a focal point? It's really the pinpoint for Michigan Rise as a fund. Why tech?
Yeah. If you go back, this is the focus area for the MEDC, and I think it's based upon the legislation that was created. But if you look forward, tech is really the area they believe that will drive innovation, high-paying jobs, and build Michigan. Michigan's really creating a dynamic business environment to support entrepreneurs, encourage investments, and just grow these important economic growth sectors. From university transitional research to high-tech incubators to business advisory support to pre-seed funding programs, and like us, early venture capital.
And I got to tell you, that makes a lot of sense as we record this in early August of 2021. Coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of uncertainty around our office space. We've got a lot of square footage, of office buildings around the state. And so if we can really retain talent and start these companies that potentially could employ a lot of people, we might be able to solve our own problems by repopulating some of these empty buildings with new companies, right?
No, I fully agree. It's so neat in our pipeline. We're referring opportunities for growth for these companies in different places around mid-Michigan. We're actually working on 3 companies right now to get them to come to Michigan that we were somewhat connected with or supporting. Now that they're getting traction, we're working with business attraction at the MEDC to try to make a permanent home here for them. So that's fun, and that's great as you come out of COVID to think these opportunities are kind of percolating, and it's a good thing for Michigan long term.
No question. Yeah, do as much of that as you can, Jeff. I've been a long time proponent of population growth and inbound, talent, inbound companies. I think the only way we're really going to drive a vibrant state and a vibrant Lansing as the town closest to my heart is inbound talent and companies to bolster the population that just spills down to the housing market and the entertainment venues and restaurants and things of that nature. So it excites me to hear that you're talking to out-of-state companies and there's an opportunity to bring them here to Michigan to set up camp.
And I think that one key word you mentioned is talent. I have young family members too, and I want to keep them in Michigan, but so much of our talent runs off to Chicago and New York and these bigger cities. If we create the ecosystem and the environment here where exciting things are happening, I think we can retain that talent. And I think we're showing we can do that. So we're really happy about that and really proud to make an impact in that area.
Wonderful. So on your website, you've got these areas of investment. So we talk about tech as the macro umbrella, but then you've got, I forget if it's 5 or 6 different focal points, areas of investment. Can you talk a little bit about those and why they were chosen?
Yeah, so if you break that down and try to give some examples of some key areas we're focused in, and I think as I say them, people get that really makes sense when it comes to Michigan. Advanced automotive and mobility, an important space to the MEDC in the state. Advanced manufacturing and materials. Agriculture processing technology, that's important to the state as well as MSU. Alternative energy, homeland security and defense technology, and information technology, a huge thing in life sciences. Probably when you look at Michigan, you look at the Midwest, there's been so much momentum around information technology and life sciences. There's just great things going on there. And actually through Michigan Rise, we're actually expanding our partnerships with the hospitals statewide to really make an impact on life sciences even more than some of the things we're doing with the other sectors.
Well, now that you rattle them off, they all seem very obvious, right? And I think that one of the, I wouldn't say mistakes made in the past, but at least discussions on how to move forward, is to play to your strengths, right? What is Michigan already good at, and double down and really make sure you stay relevant and modern and kind of exploit the advantage that you already have, as opposed to saying we want to start trying to be good at something we don't have any experience in, right? And all those things you rattled off, we've got a deep history and roots in. I mean, being a border state, so for Homeland Security, there, it's not about being good at it. We just need to be good at because we're a border state. But all the other things, I think we have a great foundation, and it's just a matter of making us really competitive in that market going forward, right?
Yeah, and if you look around the state, there's so many cool things that are happening. Like I said, in life sciences, not only are we investing in creating startups, but we're kind of being kind of a one-stop place to connect hospitals. Like we're working with hospitals in southeastern Michigan, we're working with hospitals in West Michigan, bringing together those innovations and getting them into the marketplace faster by getting those multiple partners to say, hey, this is something we want to try and it can make a difference, and maybe we can actually impact rural health in Michigan. There's some cool things going on up north, and when you look at the UP around the space sector, we've made 2 investments in the space sector. We just made one in a young technology to collect space junk. We saw the recent story of things falling out of the sky. That's a problem. Maybe we can make a difference in some of this innovation and actually help to make it go faster and do it in a safer way. So, very cool.
So you made the bold decision to launch this fund last August, I think it was, and it was, mid-pandemic, although the summer gave a little bit of relief, and then it got dark again in the fall and winter. So what were your expectations as you launched this during a pandemic, and kind of how did you perform as compared to your expectations?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would wake up and say, hey, we're going to launch something in the middle of a pandemic. It was it's one of those times I think we all look back in life and say, wow, look what just hit us. But, I think like all entrepreneurs and the people we support, we looked at this and say, how can we help our entrepreneurs? How can we help the state? How can we make a difference during what's going on right now, which is a very difficult time? So I think it was, in looking back, it was an awesome thing we've done in the 10 or 11 months this fund's been put in place. We helped people get through a very difficult period. We helped to innovate some innovations and move them forward in the healthcare space that actually could impact, COVID and other things in the future. I'm just grateful that the Michigan Economic Development Corporation put us in place to do that. And I'm just really grateful to our team for all the hard work we've done to impact these entrepreneurs and move them forward. And we actually helped because some people pulled back, that we were there to kind of give some people a lifeline. And now they've pushed forward as COVID has gotten better and had a lot of success.
So how do these startups engage with Michigan Rise? Is there like a bid cycle with deadlines, or is it they can apply kind of at any time and you vet them and approve them as they come in until the money's gone? What's the process?
Yeah, you can go to our website at any time at www.michiganrise.com and put in an application. You can also reach out to us directly. You can work with the 21 smart zones around the state, and they will help to connect you to our ecosystem. But I think you also know outside of Michigan Rise, just with our ecosystem and our startup community, we do a variety of things, from running accelerators to different ways that you can connect with us on a day-to-day basis. So we just welcome to learn about exciting entrepreneurs and innovations and try to make a difference. Whether we can fund them or not, we try to support them in some way or connect them to resources around the state.
Got it. And so over the past year, has the traffic exceeded your expectations, met your expectations, lackluster? How's that been going?
We've had our track shoes on. It's been it's been a busy 11 months. I think we exceeded by far the number of opportunities we thought we would invest in. We invested in 26 companies to date. We deployed $3.7 million. Those companies have leveraged over $102 million of other funding that's come into them. So we've seen more companies, invested in more companies, and quite frankly, just really proud of the team and all the effort they put in, because it's been a lot of hard work during a very difficult time. And one of the metrics we're just really proud of is 77% of the companies we invested in the last year are underrepresented founders. And we've also invested throughout the state, from the UP to Detroit to Mid-Michigan to West Michigan. So a lot done in a very short period of time, and we're just really excited about continuing to do it.
All right. I'd like to unpack some of those numbers again. So, $3.7 million directly from Michigan Rise, and they also have leveraged a total of $102 million from a variety of other sources. Is that right? Over all the companies that you've been engaged with?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So that's by far better than we thought we could do in this short period of time.
No kidding. And then again, I don't want to gloss over this. So 77% of the founders are from underrepresented communities.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
We're really proud of that.
And a broad geographic range of people as well.
Yeah.
So it's not a bunch of people in Grand Rapids and Detroit that are getting the funding. It's sprinkled around. You said UP down to Benton Harbor, or whatever.
Yeah.
So all around the state. That's really good to hear, because I think the skeptics out there will say that the scales are tipped and people aren't. The money's going to their friends, or there's always so much cynicism around these things. But it sounds like, and I know you and your moral compass, but it seems like the stats don't lie, and you're doing great work on behalf of a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, I think to all your points, we heard those when we started the fund, and there were some things that we committed to that we were going to be very intentional about. We're going to be active. We're going to hustle. And our team is all throughout the state looking at opportunities, talking to people, because if you're going to hit those kind of metrics, to your point, make sure everybody has a chance for opportunity, you have to get out there and make things happen. It doesn't happen by sitting in an office and waiting for people to knock on your door. So we really take a lot of pride in our efforts to reach out throughout the state, and we feel committed that we have to hit every part of the state in a positive way.
And it sounds like you're doing that. So the funding that these companies get, is it in the form of a grant or a loan? And is there any obligation to them if they really hit and become successful to kind of reseed Michigan Rise with additional funding to get the next guys over the hump? Or is there any of that kind of structure built into this?
Yeah, so we typically do loans. We don't do grants. So most of our instruments are either equity or convertible securities. So whether it's a convertible debt, SAFE, equity, that's typically what we're doing when we work with our companies. I'd like to say we're friendly investors. We're probably the friendliest VCs you'll see, because we recognize where the companies are at, and we try to put terms on the table that work for both parties. And obviously, at the end of the day, we want to share in the results. So we're really trying to be a good partner, help them grow the company, and share in the success together if that company is able to have a huge impact and get commercialized and do great things. But the one thing you can count on from our team, we're not just here to invest. We're here to support them, coach them. We sit on boards of directors for some of our companies. We connect them. We have both VC experience and operational support on our team so we can help them wherever they need to be or provide the advice that's best for them.
So I have to ask, I mean, that sounds like just an amazing, almost supply chain of getting startups, ready to go. Is that unique, or are there models like that are around the country and people doing similarly amazing work? Because it sounds pretty unique to me.
It is. One of those things you're always humble when you're trying to build things the right way. We've looked around the country at setups for ecosystems around entrepreneurial communities, around universities. We're very fortunate to work with MSU, but we also sit outside of MSU. We're fortunate to have the support of the Michigan State Foundation, which has allowed us to have a big team. We have entrepreneurs and residents that work with us that have expertise in all sectors. We have Spartan Innovations. That's a huge opportunity for us to connect and take ideas and put grant funding behind them. And then we run 2 accelerators in Concord. You put that package of stuff together, it is unique. And it's one of those things that I think we do stand out when it comes to the Midwest and in some cases nationally. So, we're not that old. We're still young, what we're building here. But, we did 32 investments last year. I think the future is bright for what we're doing, and hopefully we can continue to build upon it.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate your coming on board with us today and giving us an update. Can you remind us again of the website where people can go and learn more?
Yeah, it's www.michiganrise.com. And thank you, Chris, for all your time and allowing us to be here. And just think you do wonderful things. And we're just great to do what you do.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. I love giving the platform. So we've been speaking to Michigan Rise Executive Director, Mr. Jeff Wesley, providing pre-seed money for startups in the tech field. It's fantastic work, Jeff. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.